So coming out of another session and sitting down with us here at the NICC podcast booth, sponsored by First Insurance Funding of Canada, is Greg Smith, President of Crawford, Canada. Greg, thanks for sitting down with us. And how's NICC going for you so far this year?
It's excellent. Jam-packed full of informative sessions, amazing speakers. It's a must-attend event for me each and every year just to get the latest in industry insight.
Absolutely, and the insights have been fantastic. So I've had a lot of conversations around different issues in the industry today, but we haven't really focused on claims. You're a big claims company and help deal with the outcomes of insurance policies that we hope never wants to use. What are some of the things that you're seeing with claims right now and the trends across the country? What's changing from the past? Because we've got a lot of different things happening, cat losses, the frequency of them, and also, of course, inflation driving up a lot of reconstruction costs. Where do you start with this with these threshold of problems?
Absolutely, it's been a hectic and chaotic year straight across all segments in the industry this year. Extremely high claims volumes, as you mentioned, driven by cats in all corners of the country. Yes. Flooding, wildfires, hurricanes coming up. That is being compounded by a labor shortage across the entire industry, whether it's restoration contractors or loss adjusters or the other professionals that need to come and respond to those claims. It's really creating the perfect storm, no pun intended, of having a really high number of claims to respond to and not having the resources you need to respond to them. So it's been challenging. We've had to do a lot of adjusting as we move people from one end of the country to the other and draw on resources from every corner of the country to make sure we've got the teams on the ground to respond.
One of the things insurance companies have been focusing on a lot is the claims experience, and whether they're doing it in-house or partnering with third-party adjusters such as a Crawford, they're really taking in mind how customers feel about the experience. How is that landing on yourselves as third-party adjusters and not part of an insurance company? Are you having to do more work with your teams to sort of enhance the experience and make it to what the customer's expecting?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not new for us. We've always been cognizant of the fact that we step into the shoes of the insurance companies that hire us, and they trust us with their brand. We're out there in the moment of truth, and we're there to fulfill the promise of the insurance policy. We do our utmost to make sure that the service we deliver reflects the insurance carrier's philosophy, and that we're doing our best to represent the policy of insurance that the consumers bought. There's no doubt each and every year customer expectations on speed and service and delivery increase, and part of our challenge as a service provider to the industry is to keep pace with those rising consumer expectations and do the very best we can in the circumstances.
And I think as an industry, and probably more so on claims, because when you're repairing a heavily damaged building or whatever, speed isn't necessarily the first thing you want, but yet a consumer experience is being managed and set, or their expectations are being set by other industries. So when you deal with complex claims where you know the timelines are going to be there, are you seeing a different sort of understanding from the insureds about what they expect, or is it still reasonable to the world that we operate in?
The consumers are understanding. They're grateful for the support we're giving them, and we find that by communicating with them and being honest and giving them all of their options, they might not be completely happy with the options in front of them, but they do understand that the insurance industry is doing everything it can to move the claims forward. Halifax is a great example. Multiple weather-related events all throughout the year. The contractors in Halifax are telling us they've got a 2-year backlog of work. And so that's a really difficult message to tell a policyholder when you're trying to resolve their claim. And so we try to lay out all their options on the table and remind them that they're entitled to hire their own contractor. The insurance company will work with them to make sure there's a good scope of repairs, and will pay the amount of money they need to get those repairs done. And I think that gives them some choice where they can go about it on their own and work independently to find local repair firms that can perhaps get the jobs done faster, or they can choose to wait for a restoration firm that might come with a quality workmanship guarantee or the backing of their insurance carrier. They understand the realities of the local market. They're talking to their neighbors. They're understanding that everyone's in the same circumstance, but there's someone who's going to be the first one to have their house repaired in that community, and someone who's going to be the last. And it's explaining all the homeowners between the first and the last where their job is and how quickly we're trying to get it done for them.
So when you have these events like what's happening in Halifax, almost 2 years in a row to the date, and you have lingering challenges with the rebuilding and construction and stuff, are insurers working with yourselves to sort of find alternative resolution methods? Are new ideas coming out of this on how to solve things, whether it be just cash payment? Someone says, I'm 2 years in a row now, I'm done with this, I want out. Are we seeing new ways to address these kinds of frequencies and the severity of them?
Absolutely. I think every insurance carrier is working to try and find a way to restore their policyholders and get them back to the way they were. Cash settlements have always been an option. Cash settling on an actual cash value versus replacement cost creates a gap and perhaps a loss of value for the insured. And we see the majority of insurance companies doing an excellent job of making the cash settlements more appealing, flexing some of the rules on how we apply depreciation, and making it easier for the policyholder to find a path to recovery, whether it's through the insured's preferred vendor, or doing the work themselves, or doing it through another local contractor.
Technology is influencing all sides of the industry, and I'm sure it's happening in claims. What are some of the things that you're seeing that's benefiting the claim side and how you manage claims and work with customers? Is there new tech out there that you're really happy to use and excited about?
Absolutely. There's a couple of tools that we've built into our standard processes over the last couple of years. Some of them are new technologies, and some are the application of old technologies. During one of the CATs last year, we had a particularly interesting situation. About 500 claims reported to us by an insurance carrier, reported about a week after the event. So these are claims that just hadn't been actioned, hadn't had any contact. We have a piece of software with some SMS communication capabilities that allowed us to take 500 claims and immediately push out SMS contact messages to the policyholders saying, we were assigned to the loss, here was the name of your adjuster, here's their phone number, and then opening the door to say, can we ask you a few questions about your loss? All of this without a human being involved in the process. And then we could ask really key questions. Are you safe? Is your home habitable? Have you been able to find alternate accommodations? And within hours of literally a spreadsheet of losses landing in our center, we were able to start triaging those losses to the most urgent and most severe and prioritizing first contact, while still giving the insured the option to pick up the phone and call their adjuster if they needed. It was the first time we had used that technology at scale, and it worked extremely well in a triaging process that might have taken 24 or 36 hours. We were talking a couple of hours one afternoon, and that's just one example.
That's amazing, considering that area and what they were going through.
Absolutely.
What about things like geospatial tech and things like that? I know there's some companies that do some very amazing things with 3D imaging and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys are adopting?
Absolutely. We've adopted a couple of different platforms that we're able to leverage for our field adjusters. We've got a global partnership with a platform called Hover. It does exterior sketches and diagrams based on photographs. And we've made that part of our standard offering.
I know the CEO, AJ Altman, a great guy. I met him 4 years ago at a conference, and I didn't believe he could be accurate to a bundle of shingles on a roof, and he proved me wrong.
Yes, it's incredible, and as we're using the technology to make our adjusters more efficient and more accurate in the field, we're even finding some interest from the policyholders that are just like you were, marveling at the ability for the adjuster to snap some photographs and then literally in minutes have that diagram dropped onto their phone.
So, Greg, what are you excited for about day 2 tomorrow? Any sessions you're looking forward to? Anything going on as well?
Day 2 tomorrow is always a great day where you've got the reinsurance panel.
Yes.
For me, it's nice to take a step back and recognize that Canada is just a really small piece in a large global industry.
Yes.
And I think that one is always an eye-opener for me, where I get to really appreciate how big and how complex and how integrated the global insurance industry is.
Well, Greg, thanks so much for sitting down with us and taking some time to talk a little bit about what Crawford's going through and how you see the claims industry and the insurance industry. And have a great time with the rest of the NICC.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.